Welcome to Wonderwave. Today we're diving into some of the most bizarre historical events that you won't believe actually happened. These are the stories that defy logic and challenge our understanding of the past. History is full of strange, shocking, and downright unbelievable moments that often get overshadowed by the more well-known events. From inexplicable phenomena to peculiar wars, the past is a treasure trove of oddities. But today we're shedding light on these hidden gems. Let's get started. Prepare to be amazed by the sheer strangeness of these historical occurrences. Our first bizarre event takes us back to the year 1518 in the town of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire. This was a time of great upheaval and mystery. It all began when a woman named Frau Troffea suddenly started dancing in the street. What seemed like a spontaneous act of joy quickly turned into something much more sinister. This might sound like an ordinary act, but there was nothing ordinary about it. Frau Troffea danced with an intensity and fervor that left onlookers both mesmerized and horrified. She kept dancing for days without stopping. Her feet bled, her body weakened, but she continued as if driven by an unseen force. Soon dozens and eventually hundreds joined her, all dancing uncontrollably, as if possessed. The streets of Strasbourg were filled with the sound of frenzied footsteps and the sight of exhausted dancers. Medical experts at the time were baffled. They had never seen anything like it and were at a loss for how to stop it. Some thought it was a curse, others a form of divine punishment. Theories ranged from the supernatural to the psychological. Modern theories suggest it could have been a case of mass hysteria or ergot poisoning caused by a toxic mold that grows on damp rye. This mold can produce hallucinations and convulsions, which might explain the uncontrollable dancing. The epidemic lasted for over a month, with many dancers collapsing from exhaustion and some even dying. The town was in a state of panic and confusion. To this day, the exact cause of the dancing plague remains a mystery. It stands as a testament to the strange and unexplainable events that can occur in human history. Next, we travel to Australia in the early 1930s, where one of the most unusual conflicts in history took place, the Great Emu War. This event is a perfect example of how nature can sometimes outsmart humanity. After World War I, Australian farmers were struggling to protect their crops from a new enemy, emus. These large, flightless birds were more than just a nuisance. They were a threat to the farmers' livelihoods. These large, flightless birds were migrating to the farmland in search of food, causing massive destruction to crops. The emus trampled over fields, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. The farmers, desperate to save their livelihoods, sought help from the military. They needed a solution, and they needed it fast. The government responded by deploying soldiers armed with machine guns to take down the emus. It seemed like an over-the-top response, but the situation was dire. But the birds proved to be surprisingly resilient. They were fast, agile, and seemed almost impervious to the bullets. Despite the military's best efforts, the emus evaded the bullets, and the war ended in defeat for the humans. The soldiers were left frustrated and defeated by these seemingly simple creatures. The emus won, and the event has gone down in history as a bizarre and almost comical episode of human versus nature. It serves as a reminder that sometimes nature has the upper hand. In 1814, an explosion at the Mew and Company brewery in London caused a tidal wave of beer to flood the streets. This event is as tragic as it is strange. A giant vat containing over 300,000 gallons of beer ruptured, causing other vats to burst as well. The sheer volume of beer was unimaginable. The result was a torrent of beer sweeping through the surrounding neighborhood. People were caught off guard, and chaos ensued. The flood destroyed buildings and killed at least 8 people, many of whom were drowned or trapped in the debris. The community was left in shock and mourning. The event, while tragic, was so unusual that it left many in disbelief. How could something as benign as beer cause such devastation? The London beer flood remains one of the strangest industrial accidents in history. It is a sobering reminder of the unexpected dangers that can arise from everyday activities. From beer to molasses. Our next event takes us to Boston, Massachusetts in 1919. This disaster is equally bizarre and tragic. On a cold January day, a massive storage tank filled with 2.3 million gallons of molasses exploded, sending a wave of sticky syrup through the streets of the North End neighborhood. The force of the explosion was tremendous. The molasses moved at an estimated 35 miles per hour, knocking down buildings, crushing vehicles, and killing 21 people. The scene was one of utter chaos and destruction. It also injured over 150 others. The community was left to deal with the aftermath of this sticky disaster. The cause of the explosion was likely due to the rapid temperature changes, which weakened the tank. The structural integrity of the tank was compromised, leading to the catastrophic failure. This bizarre disaster became known as the Great Molasses Flood, and it took months to clean up the sticky mess. The streets were coated in molasses, making the cleanup effort a monumental task. Even years later, locals claimed they could still smell the sweet scent of molasses on hot days. The memory of the disaster lingered in the air, both literally and figuratively. No list of bizarre historical events would be complete without mentioning the curse of Tutankhamun's tomb. This story has captivated the imagination of people around the world. Discovered in 1922 by archaeologist Howard Carter, the tomb of the Egyptian pharaoh was filled with treasures and, according to legend, a deadly curse. The discovery was groundbreaking, but it came with a dark side. Shortly after the tomb was opened, several people associated with the discovery died under mysterious circumstances, including Lord Carnarvon, the expedition's financial backer. The deaths fueled rumors of a curse. Rumors spread that the tomb was cursed and that those who entered would suffer the wrath of the pharaoh. The idea of a curse captured the public's imagination and added an air of mystery to the discovery. While modern historians believe the deaths were coincidental and likely caused by exposure to toxic molds and bacteria, the legend of the curse has persisted. The story of the curse continues to intrigue and mystify. It remains one of the most famous and bizarre stories in the history of archaeology. The tale of Tutankhamun's curse is a reminder of the allure and danger of uncovering the past. Now, let's take a look at an event that seems too absurd to be true: the War of the Stray Dog. This incident is a prime example of how small events can escalate into major conflicts. In 1925, tensions were high between Greece and Bulgaria. The two nations were on edge, and it didn't take much to spark a confrontation. During a border skirmish, a Greek soldier's dog ran across the border into Bulgaria. What should have been a minor incident quickly spiraled out of control. When the soldier chased after his dog, he was shot and killed by Bulgarian troops. This incident escalated quickly, turning a simple chase into a deadly encounter. The Greek government, outraged by the killing of their soldier, issued an ultimatum to Bulgaria. They demanded justice and retribution. When their demands were not met, Greece invaded Bulgaria, leading to a brief conflict known as the War of the Stray Dog. The situation escalated rapidly, with both sides preparing for battle. Thankfully, the League of Nations intervened, and the conflict was resolved diplomatically. Cooler heads prevailed and a full-scale war was averted, but the fact that a war nearly broke out over a dog is one of the most bizarre moments in modern history. It highlights the fragility of peace and the unpredictability of international relations. Finally, we end with a theory that challenges the very fabric of history itself: the phantom time hypothesis. This theory is as controversial as it is intriguing. Proposed by German historian Heribert Illig in the 1990s, this theory suggests that nearly 300 years of history, specifically the period between 614 and 911 AD, were fabricated. The implications of this theory are staggering. According to Illig, the early Middle Ages didn't exist, and events like the reign of Charlemagne were entirely invented. If true, this would mean that a significant portion of our historical timeline is a complete fabrication. He argues that this period was added to the calendar by the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III and Pope Sylvester II to legitimize Otto's claim to the throne. The theory suggests a grand conspiracy to rewrite history. While this theory is widely discredited by historians, it remains a fascinating and bizarre idea that questions our understanding of history. The debate over the phantom time hypothesis continues to spark interest and controversy. And there you have it, some of the most bizarre historical events you won't believe actually happened. These stories remind us that history is full of surprises and mysteries. History is full of strange and unbelievable stories that remind us that truth can indeed be stranger than fiction. The past is a rich tapestry of the unexpected and the extraordinary. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share and subscribe to Wonderwave for more fascinating historical content. We have many more incredible stories to share with you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay curious and keep exploring the wonders of history.